Welcome to Zoe Stories. To stay with her, I became a girl. My name is Ethan Hale, and up until a few months ago, my life was simple. Boring, even. A 2-bedroom apartment, a steady job, a girlfriend I adored, and a secret I tried not to think about too much. The kind of secret you bury so deep in your chest that even you pretend it's not real. I never planned on letting anyone know. Not my family, not my friends, and definitely not Ava, the woman who made my heart race without even trying. She had this effortless charm. Long black hair that curled at the ends, warm brown eyes that could read emotions I never said out loud, and a voice that could calm storms. She was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes you feel lucky just to stand next to her. And I was the guy constantly scared she'd realize she could do better. But the truth is, my secret wasn't something small like cheating on a diet or skipping the gym. It was something heavier. Something I didn't choose. Something that chose me. Since I was 13, I'd had this strange, unshakable pull toward femininity. Clothes, makeup, heels, things most guys laugh at. Not me. I admired them. I wanted to feel them, wear them, breathe in that softness, that freedom. But I grew up in a house where masculinity was worshipped like a religion. My father believed boys should be strong. No weakness, he said. No softness. So I learned early how to hide the parts of me that didn't fit his mold. Years later, even after I left home, the instinct stayed. Hide. Bury. Deny. But when I moved in with Ava, hiding became harder. She noticed everything. Every shift in my voice, every fidget, every moment I went quiet. She could read me with terrifying ease, yet somehow she never caught the one thing I desperately needed her not to see. At least, not yet. Our apartment was small but warm. Plants along the windowsill. Soft beige curtains. A couch we bought together after 3 hours of arguing in a furniture store. The scent of her jasmine perfume always lingered in the hallway. Ava worked as a graphic designer from home, usually sitting cross-legged on the couch with her laptop, glasses low on her nose. I worked at a tech support center downtown. Absolutely not glamorous but stable enough to help us pay rent and save a little. Every morning was the same. I made coffee. She stole it, I left for work. She blew me a kiss. And the door closed behind me with a strange sense of peace. It was safe. Predictable. Comfortable. Until the day everything shifted. It was a Thursday. A normal Thursday. A nothing special, barely worth remembering kind of Thursday. But that morning, Ava had to leave for a 2-day business workshop across town. She kissed me goodbye, teasing me about burning the apartment down while she was gone. When the door shut behind her, a silence settled in the room, thick and full of possibility. For the first time in months, I was alone. Truly alone. No footsteps. No eyes watching. No questions. Just me. And the closet I avoided looking at. My pulse picked up. Because hidden behind boxes and jackets was a small black bag. My emergency stash. A secret collection I only touched when I truly couldn't resist anymore. A wig. A few makeup essentials. A soft pastel dress I bought online at 2 a.m. after too many restless nights. Just the thought of it made my skin buzz. I shouldn't. I knew I shouldn't. I promised myself I'd never do it in the apartment. Not here. Not where she lived. Not where her scent clung to every wall and made me feel guilty for wanting to be someone she didn't know. But the temptation was a living thing. A whisper. A hand pulling me toward the closet. And for the first time stronger than the fear. The relationship with Ava. Part of what held me back was Ava herself. She was confident, elegant, effortlessly feminine in a way I could never be. She loved stylish dresses, heels that clicked like confidence, and bold earrings that framed her face. When she dressed up, I felt something strange inside me. Admiration, longing, envy, all tangled together. Our relationship was good. Better than good. She was caring, supportive, deeply affectionate. She'd cup my face when I was stressed, trace her finger along my jaw when she kissed me, playfully mess with my hair just to watch me get annoyed. But she also had expectations. She loved that I was manly, in ways I never felt inside. She'd brag to her friends about how protective I was, how strong my arms looked when I carried groceries. She'd lean on me during scary movies and say, "My brave guy will protect me." She saw someone. I wasn't. Not fully. And I was terrified of losing her if she saw the rest. But that Thursday morning, the longing won. Just for a moment, I wanted to know how it felt. Not as a fantasy. Not in secret childhood shame. I wanted to feel soft. Pretty. Free. Just once. And that, just once, would become the choice that changed everything. The door closes. And the story begins. As soon as Ava's taxi faded from the view of our window, I stood still for an entire minute. Listening. Waiting. Checking. Then, almost without thinking, I walked toward the closet. Each step felt dangerous, exciting. Like approaching a cliff knowing the wind might push me over. My hand trembled as I pulled down the small black bag. Dust rose from the top. My throat tightened. This was wrong. I knew it. But it also felt more right than anything ever had. My heart thudded hard enough to hurt. I sat on the bed with the bag in my lap, breathing shallow, terrified and thrilled all at once. All I had to do was open it. Just unzip the bag. Just look. Just feel. 1 hour, I whispered to myself. 1 hour. Then I'll put everything away before she comes home. I believed myself. That was my first mistake. The black bag sat on my lap like a living secret, pulsing with temptation. I could feel my heartbeat in my fingertips as I unzipped it, the metallic rasp slicing through the quiet apartment. For a moment, I just stared at the contents. My entire hidden world compressed into a few items. A soft pastel dress, a simple auburn wig, a makeup pouch, a pair of beige heels, a lace bralette and panties. I swallowed hard. My breath felt too loud, too shaky. I reached for the bralette first. The lace brushed against my knuckles, delicate, whisper-light, and the sensation almost made me pull my hand back. This is insane, I muttered to myself. This is stupid. I shouldn't. But the part of me that always lived in silence finally spoke louder. Just once. Just feel it. My hands moved on their own. I undressed slowly, every movement heavy with fear and anticipation. The air felt colder against my skin. When I slipped the bralette on, the lace hugged my chest in a way that made my breath hitch. It didn't fit perfectly, of course it didn't, but it still made something inside me come alive. The panties followed next. They were softer than anything I owned. They settled against me in a way that made my knees weak for reasons I couldn't fully explain. For a moment, I just stood there, half dressed in forbidden softness, staring at my reflection in the mirror across the room. Not girl. Not boy. Just me. A version of me I'd never allowed to exist. I didn't recognize the expression on my face, somewhere between fear and relief. Step into her. The dress was next. Pastel pink. Short sleeves. A flowy bottom that swayed when I lifted it. I held it against my body, imagining how it would feel, how it would move. Then, with a deep breath, I stepped into it. The fabric slid up my thighs like a secret being whispered. My arms slipped through the sleeves. The dress settled against my torso. And suddenly, something inside me clicked. It didn't feel like I was pretending. It felt like I'd been holding my breath for years, and now, finally, I could exhale. But then reality struck me again. What if Ava comes back early? What if the landlord knocks? What if a delivery arrives? Every what if slammed into my chest at once. But instead of stopping me, it thrilled me. The risk. The danger. The intoxicating fear of being caught. I wasn't just transforming. I was breaking a rule I had lived under my entire life. The makeup moment. The makeup pouch was the scariest part. Wearing clothes felt physical. Makeup felt personal. Intimate. Like stepping into identity rather than costume. I sat at Ava's vanity, the same place where I watched her get ready on date nights. Her perfumes lined the counter. Her brushes were arranged neatly. Her lipstick stains dotted a tissue she kept to the side. Using her space felt like trespassing. Using her tools felt like stealing. But I still reached for them. I started with foundation. Too light, too careful. Then concealer under my eyes. Powder to set. A little blush on the cheeks. My hands shook with every motion. Not because I was afraid of messing up. Because I'd never felt more vulnerable. Then came mascara. I blinked awkwardly as the wand touched my lashes. It made my eyes look bigger. Softer. Then I made the boldest move yet. I picked up one of her nude lipsticks. I twisted it up. The scent of vanilla filled the air. I hesitated only 1 second before pressing it against my lips. It glided on, warm, silky, subtle but unmistakable. I stared at myself for a long time. The person in the mirror wasn't fully a woman. Not yet. But they also weren't the Ethan I woke up as. They were someone in between. Someone fragile. Someone scared. Someone real. The first steps in heels. The last piece. The one that always terrified me. Was the pair of heels. They weren't high, just 3 inches. But to me, they might as well have been 10. I sat down, slipped my feet into them, and buckled the straps. My ankles felt exposed. My legs looked different. The arch changed everything. I stood up, slowly, gripping the edge of the vanity like I was learning to walk again. The heels clicked softly against the wooden floor. Click, click. Every step was a heartbeat. I walked across the room, my legs trembling. The dress swayed. The wig brushed my shoulders. The lipstick caught the light. I didn't feel like I was crossdressing. I felt like someone I had lost long ago. The danger begins. Just as I twirled slightly, testing how the dress moved, a sound froze me. A car door. Outside. Close. My blood went cold. I rushed to the window, heart hammering in my throat, terrified Ava had returned early. She shouldn't be back for 2 days, but what if she forgot something? What if her meeting got cancelled? I peeked through the blinds. It wasn't her. Just a neighbor parking their car. But the fear stayed. It curled in my stomach, sharp and thrilling. I backed away from the window, breathing fast, heels wobbling. This was dangerous. Reckless. Stupid. But I wasn't stopping. If anything, the risk made it better. This wasn't just a fantasy anymore. It was real. Too real. My body buzzed with adrenaline as I walked back toward the mirror. The girl staring back wasn't perfect. Wasn't polished. Wasn't fully formed. But she was there. Breathing. Existing. Waiting for me to acknowledge her. And I whispered, barely audible. Hi. I stayed frozen in front of the mirror longer than I should have. 10 seconds, maybe 15, just staring at the reflection that didn't feel like a stranger anymore. The soft blush on my cheeks, the wig brushing my collarbone, the dress hugging my frame in ways that felt impossibly right. It all blended into a presence I couldn't deny. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't polished. But she was mine. A version of me I never allowed myself to be. And for the first time in years, maybe in my entire life, I felt beautiful. But the moment I allowed that thought, guilt stabbed me again. Ava. Her face flashed in my mind. How would she react if she walked in and saw me like this? Would she scream? Laugh? Cry? Leave? The idea made my stomach twist. I loved her so much it scared me. And yet here I was, wearing her makeup, using her vanity, stepping into a world she didn't know existed. Was this betrayal? Was this selfishness? Was this who I truly was? The questions clawed at me, but the reflection in the mirror whispered back. Just for today. Just for now. Just breathe. I took a step backward, and the click of the heels on the wood floor echoed through the apartment. It was such a small sound, but it felt like thunder. I walked again. Forward. Backward. A slow rotation in front of the mirror. The dress swayed. A softness I'd never felt wearing men's clothes. The wig shifted with every movement. The lipstick caught the light. I lifted my hand and touched my cheek. Smooth. Warm. Mine. A shaky smile grew on my lips. I didn't expect to like this so much. I didn't expect it to feel this natural. I didn't expect her to feel so real. I walked out of the bedroom, heels tapping lightly with every step. The rhythm of the sound made my heart race. Fear mixed with joy, danger mixed with liberation. The apartment felt different when I walked through it like her. The walls seemed closer. The air seemed warmer. Everything felt alive. I moved to the kitchen, grabbed a glass of water, and took a slow sip, watching my lipstick touch the rim. A soft ring of color marked the glass. My breath caught. That tiny mark felt like evidence. Proof I existed like this. If Ava came home, she'd see it. If a friend dropped by unexpectedly, they might ask questions. But instead of wiping the rim clean, I set the glass down and just stared at the lipstick print. It felt symbolic. A confession no one would ever hear. I ran my finger over the print and whispered, "I shouldn't be doing this." But my voice didn't sound like it belonged to someone who wanted to stop. Just as I turned around, the apartment intercom buzzed. BZZZZZT. Sharp. Loud. Like a gunshot in my ears. My heart slammed into my ribs. I froze, completely frozen, staring at the door as the heels dug into the floor. The intercom buzzed again. Someone was downstairs. At the door. Wanting in. My thoughts spiraled. Ava? Her boss? A delivery? A friend? A mistake? The fear that ripped through my body was instant, like plunging into ice water. I hurried to the table where the intercom was mounted, trying not to trip in the heels. My hands trembled so violently the wig shifted on my shoulder. I pressed the button, my voice breaking. Hello. Static. Then a voice. Package delivery for Hale. A delivery. I exhaled so hard I nearly collapsed. Then panic hit me again. A package means they want me to come outside and sign. Outside. In this outfit. In this face. In these heels. My legs wobbled. I couldn't step outside like this. Not even for a second. Not even if my life depended on it. Just leave it at the door, I said, trying to force a deeper tone. I can't come out right now. A pause. Sorry, sir. Signature required. My blood went cold. No. No, no, no. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not when I was dressed like this. I'm in the shower. I blurted out. God. What a stupid excuse. But the delivery man just sighed. All right. I'll circle back in an hour. Yes. Yes, that's fine. I said too quickly. The intercom clicked off. Silence returned. But it wasn't the same silence as before. This one was heavier. Danger wrapped in stillness. I pressed my back against the wall, sliding down until I sat on the floor, panting. Tears pricked my eyes from the adrenaline. I almost had to go outside. I almost had to be seen. I almost destroyed everything. But the scariest part? Even after that heart-stopping moment, even with the threat of being caught, I didn't want to take the dress off. I didn't want to wipe away the makeup. I didn't want to stop being her. If anything, the danger made me hold on tighter. Once my heartbeat slowed, I stood up again. Slowly. Carefully. Touching the wall for balance. The heels felt steadier now. My steps grew more confident. I walked into the living room again. Past the kitchen. Down the hallway. Every mirror I passed caught a glimpse of me, and each glimpse sent a thrill up my spine. I sat on the couch, smoothing the dress over my legs. Crossed my ankles. Something masculine me never did. Ran my fingers through the wig. Then I whispered to the empty room. Who are you? But I knew. God, I knew. She'd always been there. Waiting. Waiting for a quiet apartment. Waiting for a moment without judgment. Waiting for a chance to exist. As I sat there, something shocking washed over me. Confidence. Not the forced confidence I had as Ethan, this strong man others expected. A different kind. A softer kind. A rooted kind. I felt at ease. Like this version of me didn't have anything to prove. The dress didn't weigh me down. The makeup didn't feel like a mask. The wig didn't feel like pretend. The girl I saw in the mirror felt like a truth I'd denied too long. I whispered again. I like this more than I should. But part of me argued back. Or maybe you like it exactly as much as you always have. You just never let yourself feel it. I didn't realize how long I'd been sitting there on the couch until my legs started to tingle. The dress had wrinkled slightly where I'd been holding it, and when I uncrossed my legs, the wig brushed over my collarbone again. That small touch sent a shiver down my spine. I stood up, smoothed the dress again, and caught myself smiling. I wasn't supposed to smile. This wasn't supposed to feel this good. This wasn't supposed to feel right. But it did. Maybe too right. I walked toward the hallway mirror. My heels clicking with slightly more confidence now. And with every step, something awakened. Something bold. Something that had been tightly locked inside for years. When I reached the mirror, I stood tall. Well, as tall as I could in 3-inch heels, and met my reflection's eyes. Her eyes. My eyes. Our eyes. And something inside whispered, "You could be her. Not just for an hour. But longer." The thought scared me as much as it excited me. Up until now, everything had been innocent exploration, curiosity, experimentation. But the moment that thought crossed my mind, that I could be her longer, a new feeling crept in. Hunger. A deep craving for something I had denied myself for so long that it now felt like oxygen filling my lungs. I reached up, adjusted the wig slightly. The motion felt natural. Familiar. Like I'd done it 1,000 times. Then I touched the neckline of the dress, lifting it gently where it brushed my collarbone. The fabric was soft, warm, almost soothing. A small gasp escaped me. Not of fear. Of revelation. "I want this," I whispered. The words felt dangerous. I placed a hand on my chest over the lace bralette, feeling the way the straps hugged my shoulders. "I really want this." Saying it out loud made the truth sharper. I wanted to exist this way. To feel like this. To explore this side of me without shame. But then Ava's face crashed into my mind again. Her laugh. Her warm brown eyes. Her kiss on my forehead on good mornings. She had no idea who I was. Not this part anyway. And if she found out, I didn't even know what would happen. Just as my thoughts spiraled, my phone buzzed loudly on the dresser beside me. The sound was so sudden, so sharp, that I flinched, nearly twisting my ankle in the heels. I steadied myself and rushed toward the dresser, heart pounding again. What if it was Ava? What if something happened? What if? I grabbed the phone with trembling hands. One word lit up the screen. Ava. My heart stopped. I stared at the name like it was a threat. My reflection beside me, lipstick, wig, dress, everything, felt like a crime scene now. I hesitated for a full 5 seconds before answering, trying to steady my breath. Hey, I said, trying to deepen my voice. She sounded tired. A little stressed. Ethan? Hey. Sorry for calling out of nowhere. God, today was awful. I swallowed hard, guilt creeping back in. What happened? I asked, stepping farther away from the mirror as if she could see me through the phone. She vented. Work stressed her out. Her boss frustrated her. She missed me. And I stood there, wearing her lipstick, her wig, her dress, while she told me she needed me. Every word was a knife. When she said, "I can't wait to come home," something inside me twisted painfully. Home. Soon. If she surprised me by coming tomorrow instead of in 2 days, I wouldn't just be caught. I'd be exposed. Broken. I squeezed my eyes shut, controlling my breathing. After 15 minutes, she finally said, "I love you." My throat tightened. "I love you too," I whispered. When the call ended, I looked at myself again. And I hated how beautiful I felt. Hated how much I wanted this. Hated how terrified I was of losing her. Yet also terrified of losing this. I walked down the hallway again, but this time with different emotions inside me. A cocktail of pleasure, fear, and a heavy guilt that weighed more than the heels ever could. I moved slower now. More self-aware. More conscious of how fragile this moment was. But as I walked, something snapped me back into the fantasy. There was a full-body mirror hanging near the bedroom door, one I rarely looked at. But in heels, in a dress, in makeup, it felt impossible not to look. I turned toward it, expecting the same thrill, the same rush of joy and discovery. Instead, I froze. The lighting in this hallway was harsher, sharper. Not soft like the bedroom vanity lights. Not forgiving. In this mirror, every imperfection showed. The wig's slightly uneven parting. The makeup that wasn't blended perfectly. My shoulders, too broad. My jawline, too sharp. The dress, slightly tight around the chest. The illusion cracked. And suddenly, I didn't feel beautiful. I felt exposed. Wrong. Ridiculous. Like a child pretending to be something they could never truly become. A pain struck my chest. "I don't fit," I whispered. The words were small, fragile. Tears pricked at my eyes. Different from the tears earlier. These weren't from fear or adrenaline. These were from heartbreak. And for the first time, I wondered if this was a fantasy I should never have touched. Maybe this wasn't who I was. Maybe this was selfish. Maybe I was just lying to myself. I backed away from the harsh mirror, breath shaking. But then, I stepped back toward the first mirror. The soft-lit one. The one that made me feel real. And when I saw myself in that softer light again, the illusion returned. The girl returned. The feeling returned. Not perfect, but possible. And hope crept back in. I froze in front of the mirror. Not because of fear, though that was there, humming underneath my skin like electricity, but because of who I was seeing. Because it wasn't me anymore. Not the me Ava loved. Not the me who pretended everything was fine. Not the me who lived in that careful balance between wanting to be known and being terrified of it. The version staring back. She felt like a stranger. And yet, disturbingly, undeniably familiar. My lips were glossy, a soft cherry sheen catching the light. The wig had settled perfectly now, the brunette waves framing my face like a character stepping out of a dream I wasn't sure I had permission to have. The black dress clung to me. Too well, honestly. Every contour was smooth, every shift of my hips strangely intoxicating. The stockings hugged my legs, and the heels. God, I felt almost powerful in them. But that power came with a price. A whisper. A threat. A promise. I couldn't go back. Not tonight. Not emotionally. Not mentally. Maybe not even physically. Because the deeper I sank into this persona, the harder it became to imagine slipping back into my real clothes and pretending none of this mattered. I took a shaky breath. My reflection did too. Except she looked calmer than I felt. Almost ready. Then my phone buzzed. My heart stopped. I lunged for the device, nearly twisting my ankle in the heels, and grabbed it with trembling fingers. One message lit up the screen. AVA, hey babe, traffic is insane. Might be late. What are you up to? My stomach dropped. This was the trap. This was the danger. This was the moment where everything could collapse. I should have changed. I should have panicked. I should have scrubbed off the lipstick, wiped away the foundation, shoved everything back into the drawer and pretended I was just reading, or gaming, or cooking. But instead I typed back. Nothing much. Just chilling. And hit send. I didn't know why I lied. Or rather I did. Because I didn't want this to end yet. I didn't want to peel this version of me away. I didn't want to lose her. The room felt smaller. The silence louder. The heartbeat in my chest almost painful. I stepped back in front of the mirror. Slowly. Like I was approaching someone else's body. The longer I stood there, the more the air thickened with a strange, intoxicating dread. I touched my cheek. The makeup stayed flawless. I touched my collarbone. The dress stretched smoothly under my fingers. I touched my hip. And heat rushed through me so fast I almost whimpered. This wasn't just dressing up. It wasn't a game. It wasn't curiosity. It wasn't escape. It was becoming. And the realization scared me more than anything Ava could ever walk in on. Just as I steadied myself, a crash echoed down the hallway. A sharp, metallic clang. I gasped, my hands flying to my chest, and stumbled back 2 steps, the heels clicking loudly against the wooden floor. What was that? My heart raced. My breath quickened. My mind spiraled instantly into worst-case scenarios. Had Ava come home early? Did she hear everything? Did she see something? Then another sound. Something rolling gently across the floor. My entire body locked up. I moved slowly, inching toward the door, each step wobbly but determined. I clutched the doorknob with shaking fingers, twisted it open, and peeked into the hall. Nothing. Just the soft glow of the night lamp and the familiar outline of our frames along the wall. Then something brushed my foot. I screamed. A small chrome hairspray can rolled from the bathroom door, stopping right against my heel. I let out a breath so shaky I nearly collapsed. Jesus. It's just that. But that didn't comfort me. Because I knew I had left the hairspray upright on the counter. So who knocked it over? A chill ran up my back. Maybe the AC draft pushed it. Maybe the counter was uneven. Maybe I was overthinking. But something in my gut tugged hard. You're not alone. Not with this secret. Not right now. I backed away, shutting the bedroom door again. The click of the latch felt like the only solid thing in my world. Returning to the mirror felt like crossing into forbidden territory. But I did it anyway. If anything, the fear only sharpened the thrill. My pulse was wild, my palms sweaty, but my eyes looked alive. I picked up the tube of lipstick again. My hands steadied. Shockingly, the brush of color against my lips sent a shiver through me. I reapplied the gloss, this time slowly, deliberately, like claiming something I should have never touched. I lined my lips, darkened them, pressed them together. The woman in the mirror smirked. God help me. It felt right. The world stopped. A real knock. Sharp. Close. Impossible to mistake. Right on the main door. I stepped back. My breath caught, my throat closing, my knees weakening. No. No, 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 no. Not now. Not when I was fully dressed. Not when I was exposed like this. Not when I couldn't hide this version of myself without tearing her apart violently. I scrambled to grab my robe. Then froze. Another knock. Harder. My heart slammed so hard I thought the wig might fall off. My lips parted in horror. My voice stuck in my throat. Who was it? Ava? A neighbor? Someone dangerous? Someone who knew? Another knock. And then, hello? Hello? I need someone to sign this. A man's voice. A stranger's. A delivery man. I clutched the wall, relief flooding through me, only to be replaced immediately by new panic. Because from the hallway, my shadow stretched right under the bedroom door. A distinctly feminine silhouette. Curved waist. Long hair. Small posture. Slender legs in stockings. Anyone passing by the door would know instantly. A woman was inside. Except, there was no woman inside. Only me. Only this fragile lie. Only this beautiful, dangerous version of myself. And the knock came again. Ma'am? Are you home? I froze. My lungs forgot how to breathe. Ma'am. He thought I was a woman. Even from outside. Even without seeing me. A spark lit in my chest. Half terror, half something intoxicating. The build-up wasn't just suspense now. This was the beginning of the unraveling. This was the moment I might never come back from. The word ma'am echoed in my skull like a gunshot. It didn't matter that it was just a delivery guy. It didn't matter that he couldn't see me. It didn't matter that I didn't answer. He thought a woman lived here. And for one long, trembling second, I wanted that to be true. I pressed a hand to my chest, feeling the rise and fall of my breath against the tightness of the dress, and leaned back against the wall. The stockings whispered against each other as my knees bent slightly. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not tonight. Not ever like this. Another knock. Miss? I really need someone to sign. Hello. My heart pounded so hard I felt it in my ears. I knew I should stay silent. I knew answering the door like this would be insane. I knew one wrong move and everything would explode. But the longer he knocked, the stronger something inside me whispered. Don't hide. Not right now. Not like this. My hand reached for the doorknob, then stopped an inch away. What was I thinking? Was I losing my mind? Was the transformation messing with my judgment? No. It wasn't judgment. It was honesty. Raw. Dangerous. Addictive honesty. The kind I had never allowed myself to feel. The kind I could only touch when dressed like this. The knocking finally stopped. But my panic didn't. Because as soon as the hallway fell silent, my phone buzzed again. Violently, insistently. Ava. Still awake? Should I bring food? My breath hitched. I looked at myself in the mirror again. The smoky eyes, the lips glossy with desire and fear, the long brunette waves brushing against my shoulders, the dress revealing curves I didn't know I could have. Could I undress fast enough? No. Could I scrub the makeup off without leaving a trace? No. Could I change back into my normal self before she walked in? Absolutely, painfully, and oh. I swallowed hard. The truth hit me like cold water. I had waited too long. I had gone too far. I wasn't in control anymore. This wasn't trying on a dress. This wasn't a hobby. This wasn't a passing curiosity. This was me. And I was about to get caught. I didn't even notice I was crying until the first tear hit my glossy cheek. It left a tiny streak in the foundation, barely noticeable, but to me it felt like a crack in glass. I wiped it quickly, terrified of ruining the makeup. Terrified of ruining her. Terrified of ruining the part of me I only met tonight. I stumbled to the edge of the bed and sat down, my knees pressed together instinctively, too naturally. The heels dangled slightly as my toes curled inside them. "This can't be happening," I whispered. But it was. And for the first time ever. I didn't want it to stop. I stared at my phone. I could tell Ava not to come home. I could say I wasn't feeling well. Or that I was sleeping. Or that I was out with friends. A dozen excuses swirled in my head. But each one tasted like betrayal. Not of her. Of me. Why did lying feel so wrong now? Why did hiding feel like punishment? Why did the thought of taking this dress off feel like destroying something fragile and precious? Because tonight wasn't an accident. Tonight was a breaking point. Tonight was the moment my identity slipped out from the shadows and demanded to be seen, even if only by myself. So I typed a message back. "Yeah, bring food. Drive safe." And hit send. My hands shook violently afterward. I had just sealed my fate. Signed my name on the danger. Invited the storm right into the house. Ava would be home. Soon. And I was still dressed like this. But something strange happened next. The panic softened. Not disappeared. Not vanished. Just blurred at the edges. Like my fear was being swallowed by something deeper. Acceptance. Not acceptance that I would be caught. But acceptance that I didn't want to run anymore. I stood up slowly, the heels clicking like a countdown. I approached the mirror again, placing both hands on the dresser. My reflection looked terrified. But also alive. More alive than I had been in months. Maybe years. The duality shook me. The man I was. The woman I appeared to be. And the truth that lived in between. A truth I couldn't ignore anymore. A sound cut through my thoughts. Footsteps. Soft at first. Then clearer. Then unmistakable. My blood turned to ice. Keys jingled. The lock clicked. Ava was here. Already? How? She said traffic was bad. Unless she took a shortcut. Or traffic cleared. Or she rushed home because she missed me. The door opened. A gust of air swept into the apartment. Her perfume. Her presence. Her voice. "Hey. I'm home." I gasped. Too loud. I slapped a hand over my mouth. Silence. Then, "Babe? You okay?" Her footsteps started down the hall. Slow. Casual. Trusting. Deadly. She was heading toward the bedroom. My heart clawed at my ribs. The nightmare was happening. The fantasy was collapsing. My double life was seconds from detonating. And I wasn't ready. Not dressed like this. Not exposed like this. Not when the truth was painted on my lips and wrapped around my body. Her shadow slipped under the door. I stepped back. Heel wobbling. Hand trembling. As the doorknob began to turn. The doorknob turned slowly. Too slowly. Like a horror movie when you already know the monster is on the other side. My breath lodged in my throat. The heels suddenly felt like traps. The dress suddenly felt like a confession. The lipstick suddenly felt like blood. And before I could move, hide, or even breathe, the bedroom door swung open. Just a crack. Then a little more. Then, Ava stepped inside. And she froze. Not because of me. Not at first. But because of the darkness. The room lights were off aside from the soft glow of the vanity bulbs. The atmosphere was dim, strange, almost dreamlike. She blinked, adjusting to the lighting. "Ethan?" she whispered. Not confused. Concerned. Her voice shook a little, just slightly, a detail I never noticed before. A tone someone uses when they think their partner might be crying or hiding something painful. Her hand reached for the light switch. I wanted to stop her. I wanted to scream and oh. I wanted to run. But I stood perfectly still. A statue wearing her dress. The lights flicked on. And the truth exploded into the air. I saw the exact instant her eyes landed on me. Her pupils widened. Her lips parted a fraction. Her breath caught so sharply that I heard it. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just stared. Stared at the brunette wig that brushed over my shoulders. Stared at the smoky eyeshadow framing my trembling eyes. Stared at the glossy lips she didn't apply. Stared at her pink dress hugging my waist and hips. Stared at the heels that made my legs look impossibly slender. Stared at someone she didn't know. And someone she did know. Me. But not me. Her voice finally escaped. Broken, small, and almost scared. Ethan. I swallowed. My throat felt raw. I can explain. But the words fell apart instantly. Because there was no explanation. No excuse. Just truth. And she saw it all. No shadows. No hiding. No escape. She stepped closer. Just one step. But that single step was enough to make my knees nearly buckle. Not because she looked angry. Not because she looked disgusted. She looked hurt. I came home early because I missed you, she whispered, voice cracking. And you're. Her eyes traveled over me again. Slow, stunned, shaky. Like this. I felt something deep inside my chest twist. Hard enough to steal my breath. Ava, please. But she raised her hand, stopping me. Not violently. Not angrily. Just overwhelmed. Don't, she whispered. Not yet. She stepped even closer. Close enough that I could see every emotion in her eyes. Confusion, fear, disbelief, heartbreak, and something else I couldn't identify. Her gaze drifted to my lips. The lipstick. Her lipstick. Her voice trembled. You used my makeup. I nodded. Her eyes moved to the wig. And that wig. I was saving it for my shoot. My stomach dropped. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't attacking. She was piecing together a puzzle she didn't even know existed. She reached out her hand. Hesitant. Shaking. And touched a strand of the wig. Her fingers brushed my cheek. My heart stopped. I flinched, expecting anger. But her voice softened instead. You look different, she whispered. Not accusing. Not mocking. Simply acknowledging the reality in front of her. Her thumb grazed the edge of my foundation. The place where my real skin met the illusion. It's not a joke, she said quietly. It wasn't a question. It was realization. I nodded again. Barely. My voice was too broken to answer. A tear slid down her cheek. Not mine. Hers. That hurt more than anything. You've been hiding this from me. Her voice cracked again. From me, Ethan. I didn't mean to, I choked out. But she shook her head. You did. You meant to hide it. Her hand dropped from my cheek as she stepped back. Not far. Just out of reach. I felt colder instantly. Ava wiped her tear with the back of her hand. And something changed. Her gaze sharpened. Her breathing steadied. Her shoulders lifted slightly. She wasn't breaking anymore. She was analyzing. Studying. Understanding. Terrifying. She looked at me from head to toe. Slower this time, more deliberate. Then she asked the one question I feared most. Do you want this? My lips trembled. She stepped closer again. Only inches away. Do you want to look like this? Her eyes burned into mine. Or do you need to? I don't know, I whispered. Her breath hitched. That's not a lie, she said quietly. And that shattered me. She knew me too well. She lifted her hand again. But this time, she didn't touch the wig. Or the makeup. Or the dress. She touched my hand. Her fingers intertwined with mine. Slow. Gentle. Painful. Ethan, she whispered, voice trembling. I'm not angry. My breath broke. My knees nearly gave out. But I'm scared. She took a shaky breath. I don't know what this means for us. Neither did I. Not yet. Not tonight. Not in this universe where everything was upside down. But then. She stepped closer, so close her breath warmed my cheek. Turn around, she whispered. My heart lurched. What? Why? Turn around, she repeated softly. I want to see. Everything. Properly. Chills ran down my spine. Because her voice wasn't angry. Wasn't cold. It was curious. Emotional. Intense. and absolutely unpredictable. I slowly turned. Her breath hitched again. And then, she stepped even closer behind me. Close enough to touch. Close enough to destroy me. Close enough to save me. I stood facing the mirror, terrified of my own reflection. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. My hands shook in my lap. The dress clung to every inch of me like a confession I couldn't erase. Behind me, Ava stood still. Too still. Her eyes were fixed on my reflection. Not blinking. Not softening. Not looking away. Just watching. Studying. And every second she said nothing. Felt like a knife sinking deeper. Finally, she inhaled. Slow. Shaky. Don't move, she whispered. My knees nearly buckled. She stepped closer. Slow. Deliberate. Predatory in a way that made my spine tinglingly aware of her presence. Her hand lifted. And I stiffened. She didn't touch my back. Or my waist. Or the bare curve of my shoulder. Instead, she reached the zipper of the dress. My breath stopped. Her fingers pinched the tiny metal tab. Then she tugged it up just half an inch. Click. The soft, unmistakable sound filled the air. She was checking how well I put it on. She was checking my effort. She was checking how long I'd been doing this. Then she whispered, "You zipped it yourself." A statement. Not a question. My throat tightened. I nodded slowly. Why, yes. Her finger traced the seam down my spine. A feather-light touch that made every nerve in my body light up. You've done this before. Words caught in my throat. I was scared to tell you. Her reflection exploded with emotion. Pain, yes. But also something else. A flicker of understanding. A flicker of connection. A flicker of something I didn't dare name. She moved to my side, crossing her arms slowly. Look at me, she said gently. I did. She looked into my eyes. Not at the makeup. Not at the wig. Not at the dress. Into me. Ethan. Do you feel better like this? The question shattered me. Because the truth, fragile and trembling, was just beneath the surface. I feel. My voice cracked. Like I don't have to hide. Her breath caught sharply. She looked down at my hands. Delicate, painted, trembling. When did this start? She whispered. A while ago. Months. I nodded. She swallowed hard, shoulders shaking. You've been doing this alone? Yes. And you didn't trust me enough to tell me? Her voice broke on the last word. I broke with it. I didn't want to lose you. Her jaw clenched. But her eyes softened. Ethan, she whispered. You're not losing me. My eyes widened. She wasn't leaving. Not yet. Not like this. She stepped in front of me. Between me and the mirror. Her presence overwhelming. Powerful. Inescapable. You look different, she said softly. Not judgment. Not disgust. Honesty. Real, raw, uncertain honesty. I don't know what to feel yet, she whispered. But I need to understand you. Really understand you. She took my hand again. This time more firmly. Her thumb brushed over my painted nails. You did all this for yourself? She asked. I hesitated. And for you. Her head snapped up. For me, she breathed. I didn't want to lose you, I said. So I hid the parts one thought you wouldn't accept. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she whispered something that broke me completely. You think I'd leave you because of this? My voice cracked. I was terrified you would. Her eyes glistened with tears again. Ethan, she said softly, I love you. I love you. The real you. Even the parts you hide. My breath collapsed. But then, she wasn't done. But that doesn't mean this isn't a lot, she added quietly. And I'm still trying to catch up. A knife of fear twisted in my stomach. She wasn't rejecting me. But she was shaken. Deeply. She reached up. And wiped a tear from my cheek. Her thumb smudged the foundation slightly. She froze. You even learned how to blend makeup, she whispered, stunned. You learned all of this. Alone. I nodded. She exhaled a slow, trembling breath. Turn. My heart thudded as I turned back toward the mirror. She stepped behind me. Closer this time. Her hands touched my waist. Gently, firmly. Like she was grounding herself. Let me see the whole picture, she said softly. Her eyes traveled down my body in the mirror. The dress. The stockings. The heels. The softness I created. For a moment. She didn't breathe. Then she whispered. You're beautiful. I gasped. My knees nearly gave out. But then she added. And that scares me. Chills shot through me. Because her tone had shifted. Not angry. Not fearful. Intense. Raw. Possessive in a way I had never heard before. She leaned in, lips near my ear. Ethan. What else are you hiding from me? The question wasn't an accusation. It was a challenge. A test. A warning. And a temptation. Because I had more secrets. Feelings, desires, truths. That tonight had dragged out of the shadows. She gently turned my chin, forcing me to look at her reflection again. Her voice was barely a whisper. Tell me everything. My heart slammed against my ribs. She wanted the truth. All of it. And I didn't know if telling her would save me. Or destroy us both. Her words echoed in my ears. Tell me everything. Everything. Everything I had hidden, locked away. Even from myself. I swallowed hard, my throat dry, my palms clammy in the dress. The heels suddenly felt impossibly tall. I've been doing this for months, I whispered. Alone. At home. When you weren't here. Sometimes I just put it on and pretend I'm someone else. Someone I like more. Someone I feel free as. Her hands gripped my waist tighter, not in anger, but to steady me. Free? She echoed softly, her voice trembling. You felt trapped. I nodded. I couldn't tell anyone. Not my friends, not my family. And I didn't know if you'd understand. I was scared I'd lose you. A tear slid down her cheek. You never should have felt like you had to hide from me, she whispered. Not from me. Ever. Her words were warm, but they carried weight. She had to process everything. My secret life, my hidden desires, my identity. And the fact that she was standing here, seeing me like this, made it impossible to hide anything. I swallowed again, tears threatening to fall. It's not just dressing up. It's part of who I am. And I don't know if I can go back. Her eyes softened, yet they were intense, filled with curiosity and something deeper, something I couldn't name. You don't have to go back, she whispered. But I need to understand it. I need to know you. Her words should have comforted me. But instead, they made the air heavier. Because understanding didn't mean forgiving. Because loving didn't mean accepting fully. Because the stakes were higher than ever. Our relationship, my identity, and the fragile balance of our lives were all hanging in the balance. I wanted to run, to collapse, to hide. But the dress, the heels, the makeup, they anchored me here. They demanded truth. And truth was terrifying. I want to be seen, I whispered. Truly seen. And I've never been able to do that before. Her hands slid from my waist to my shoulders, firm but gentle, grounding me in the moment. You are, she said. Right now, you're the only one in the world I want to see. The warmth in her words sent a shiver through me. But the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear of losing her, lingered. She reached out, her fingers brushing against the side of my face. Not the makeup. Not the wig. Not the illusion. Me. She touched the real me. Her thumb traced my cheekbone, and I felt it in my chest, a heat that wasn't just physical. I don't know what this means, she whispered, but I want to find out. Together. My breath hitched. Her proximity, her warmth, her words. They made the world narrow to just the two of us. I don't know if I'm ready, I admitted. You're already here, she said softly. That's the start. The air between us was thick with tension. I could feel her heartbeat against my back. I could hear it, faint but steady. I could feel her warmth through the fabric of the dress. Every nerve in my body was alive. Her hands slid down to my hands, intertwining our fingers. You're beautiful, she whispered again, this time with conviction. Not just like this. You. Every part of you. And I want to see all of it. I trembled. The danger, the fear, the exhilaration. It all crashed over me. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to melt into her embrace. I wanted to vanish into the person I had created tonight. And yet, I also wanted her. Her eyes, her warmth, her love, unconditional yet demanding. It was intoxicating. It was terrifying. She leaned closer, her lips hovering just behind my ear. "I need to feel you," she whispered. My heart skipped a beat. "Then," I breathed, "do it." Her lips pressed softly against my cheek. Not forceful. Not aggressive. Deliberate. Tender. I froze. The kiss traveled slowly along my jawline. My entire body tingled. The heels, the dress, the stockings, they felt irrelevant. It was just her, me, and the intensity of the moment. Her lips brushed mine. Softly, teasingly, just for a heartbeat. Then she pulled back, eyes searching mine. "You're mine," she whispered. I gasped. The tension, the fear, the guilt, all of it melted into that single shattering truth. We stood there. Two bodies. Two hearts. Two realities. One, the person I had hidden away, trembling behind makeup and heels, afraid of being exposed. The other, the love I had with Ava, strong and demanding and impossibly real. And for the first time, the two didn't fight. They collided. They merged. And the truth hit me harder than any fear ever could. I didn't have to choose. Not yet. Not tonight. The silence between us stretched. Thick, charged, alive. Her breath warmed my cheek. My pulse thundered in my ears. Ava didn't step back. She didn't loosen her grip. If anything, she pulled me closer. She held my chin with two fingers, soft, but firm enough that I couldn't look away. "Ethan," she whispered, her lips inches from mine, "you have no idea what you're doing to me right now." My heart jumped. What do you mean?" I stammered, my voice fragile, trembling. Her eyes darkened, not with anger, but with intensity. "I thought I knew you," she said. "I thought I loved you. But seeing you like this..." Her gaze traveled down my dress, the heels, the hair, the trembling hands. "I'm realizing I never even scratched the surface of who you are." I swallowed hard. "Is that bad?" She shook her head slowly. "No. It's unbelievable." She walked around me, slowly, deliberately, like she was examining a secret she'd accidentally uncovered but couldn't look away from. Every second her eyes were on me, my skin felt hotter. Every step of her heels on the floor echoed like a heartbeat. When she came behind me again, she placed both hands on my shoulders. "You look scared," she whispered. I am." "Why?" "Because." I hesitated, breath shaking. "I've never let anyone see me like this." "And you think I'm going to hurt you?" "No," I said softly. "I think you could break me." She pressed her forehead to the back of my neck. "I'm not here to break you," she whispered. "I'm here to see you." Her hand slid down my arms, slow and controlled, until she held my trembling fingers. "You don't have to hide anymore." I turned to face her. She was so close our bodies almost touched. Her eyes were wider now, filled with something raw, an emotion I didn't understand. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered. "You already are." Her thumb stroked the back of my hand. My knees weakened. I felt weightless and heavy at the same time. "What if this ruins everything?" I asked. "What if it makes everything better?" she countered. I opened my mouth, but no words came. She took a step closer. "Ethan," she whispered, "look at yourself." She turned me toward the mirror. For the first time I saw myself the way she saw me. Not as a joke. Not a mistake. Not a shameful secret. But as someone beautiful. My breath caught in my throat. "That's you," she said, her voice trembling just a little. "Not a costume. Not a disguise. You." A tear slipped down my cheek. She wiped it gently with her thumb. She brushed a stray curl of my wig behind my ear. Her fingers lingered on my neck. "Can I ask you something?" she whispered. "Yes," I breathed. "Did you enjoy tonight?" I froze. Never in my life had anyone asked me something that felt so dangerous, and so necessary. I closed my eyes. "Yes," I whispered. "More than I should have." She tilted my chin up. "There's no should right now. Just truth." My voice shook. Then yes, I loved it. She inhaled sharply, like that confession hit her in a place she didn't expect. Good, she whispered. Good. I echoed. Yes, because that means you can stop fighting it. Her hand slid down my arm again, slower this time. It wasn't just comforting. It was claiming. She stepped closer, pressing her body lightly against mine. Heat surged through me. Every nerve lit up. Her lips hovered over mine. But she didn't kiss me. Not yet. Instead, she said, "Tell me something else." Her breath brushed my lips. "When you dressed like this, alone, did you ever imagine someone seeing you?" I shivered violently. "Why, yes." "Who?" "I don't know." "Liar." My heart slammed against my ribs. She leaned closer. "You imagined me, didn't you?" My breath hitched. My legs nearly gave out. "Yes," I whispered. She smiled, the slow, dangerous kind. "I knew it." Her hand slid to the back of my neck. This time, when her lips touched mine, it wasn't soft. It wasn't hesitant. It was deep, consuming, charged with everything unsaid. I grabbed her waist instinctively. She pressed harder, her fingers tangling in my hair, pulling me deeper into the kiss. Every fear I had shattered. Every wall I built collapsed. Her kiss wasn't gentle. It was hungry, desperate, possessive. She broke only long enough to whisper against my lips. "You have no idea how long I've wanted you like this." My whole body trembled. Wanted me? Like this? Before I could speak, she kissed me again. Harder. Her lipstick smeared onto mine. Her breath mingled with mine. My heart was going to explode. When she pulled back, her voice was lower, rougher. "This changes everything," she whispered. "And I'm not letting you run from it." We stood there, bodies pressed together, hearts racing. The room seemed to shrink until it was just the two of us. Me in the dress in heels, makeup running slightly from nerves and tears, and Ava, staring at me like I was the only person she'd ever wanted. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could feel was her. Her forehead rested lightly against mine. "Ethan," she whispered, voice trembling. "Do you realize what this means?" I shook my head slightly. "It means," she continued, "that I love you. All of you. Every part of you. Even the part you thought I wouldn't understand. Even the part you've been hiding. Even like this." My lips parted. My mind raced. I didn't know you'd. "Shoo," she cut me off, pressing her lips briefly against mine. "Don't speak. Just feel." And I did. I felt my chest rise and fall against hers. I felt the warmth of her hands on my back. I felt the tremble in my knees from the heels and the fear and the thrill. And I felt something I'd never felt before. Acceptance. Not conditional. Not tentative. Absolute. And yet, the reality of the world outside the bedroom pressed in like a shadow. We were here, exposed, vulnerable. If anyone had walked in, if my friends, my family, my coworkers had seen me like this, everything could be ruined. But none of that mattered. Not tonight. Not when Ava held me like this. I realized that the real danger had never been getting caught by others. The real danger had been hiding from her, hiding from myself. And now, there was no hiding. Her hands cupped my face gently, tilting my chin upward. "Look at me," she whispered. I did. Her eyes glistened with tears, but there was fire in them too. "You're not a mistake," she said firmly. "You're not a phase. You're not a secret I should fear. You are incredible." Tears rolled down my cheeks as I finally let them. She wiped them softly. "And I want to be here," she whispered. "Every step of this. With you." I shook my head, overwhelmed. "I'm scared," I admitted. "I know," she said. "But we'll face it together. All of it." Then she kissed me. This time, no hesitation. No fear. No holding back. Her lips captured mine fully, and I surrendered. Every fear, every insecurity, every secret, everything I had tried to bury, was gone in that moment. She pulled me closer, her hands sliding down my back, gripping me tightly. The heels, the dress, the wig, the makeup, they didn't matter. It was just us. Everything we had hidden, everything we had wanted, collided in that kiss. When we finally parted, our foreheads pressed together, breathing in sync, the room was silent. "Promise me," she whispered. "You won't hide from me again." "I promise," I said, voice trembling. "And promise me you'll let me in." "All of it." "I will," I replied. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt completely seen. Completely accepted. Completely alive. And though the world outside our door was uncertain, dangerous, and unpredictable, inside that room, nothing else mattered. I stayed in her arms, trembling, heart racing, tears still streaming, but smiling. The suspense of the night, the fear of being caught, the thrill of transformation, the risk of exposing myself, had collapsed into something I never thought possible. Love, acceptance, and the raw thrill of finally being me. The dress, the heels, the makeup, they weren't just garments anymore. They were a symbol of my identity, of my courage, of my love for Ava, of her love for me. And in that moment, I knew nothing could undo it. Not tomorrow. Not the world. Not anyone. Because she had seen me. Truly. And she had chosen to stay. We finally settled, hearts still pounding from the intensity of our confessions and kisses. I thought the storm had passed, that we had reached a fragile peace. But then, a knock on the door. Not the usual gentle knock. A hard, deliberate knock that rattled the frame. Both of us froze. "Who?" Ava whispered, her voice tight. I swallowed hard. My heels suddenly felt like weights. I don't know," I stammered. The knocking came again. Louder. More insistent. Someone was outside. Someone who shouldn't be here. Ava and I exchanged a glance. Her eyes mirrored my fear, but also determination. "We can't let anyone see," she whispered. I nodded, my mind racing. I couldn't risk being exposed. My secret, our secret, was too fragile, too precious. I tiptoed to the door. My dress swished against my legs, my heels clicking lightly on the floor. I peeked through the peephole. A shadow loomed. Too tall. Too deliberate. And then I recognized the silhouette. It was my coworker, Jason. He had always been curious, a little too observant, always joking about how secretive I could be. And now, he was here. I felt my chest tighten. Ava grabbed my hand, squeezing it. "Ethan, stay calm," she whispered. But calm was impossible. The transformation, the dresses, the makeup. All of it would be revealed in a second. Jason knocked again. Harder this time. "Ethan, you in there? I need to talk." I froze. My pulse thundered. My face burned under the layers of makeup. Ava whispered, "What do we do?" I shook my head. I can't face him like this." She leaned closer, her breath warm against my ear. "Then we hide." I nodded, terrified. We darted toward the bedroom closet, the one I'd never imagined would become a refuge. Dresses swished. Heels clicked. Hairbrushes and makeup scattered. We closed the closet door just as Jason's hand reached for the handle of the bedroom door. His voice outside was sharp. "Ethan, I know you're in there. Come on, man, open up." We held our breath. He could hear us. He could suspect. The closet felt smaller than ever. Jason's knocks turned into raps. More deliberate. More forceful. The sound echoed through the apartment. I wanted to scream. I wanted to bolt. I wanted to disappear. Ava's hand tightened around mine. "Stay calm," she whispered again. But every second stretched into an eternity. And then, the sound of keys rattling in the lock. Our hearts stopped. The door to the apartment started to open. The last thing I saw before we were fully exposed, Jason's silhouette in the doorway. And then, everything went black. We didn't know if he saw us. We didn't know if our secret was safe. We didn't know what he would do next. And that was the suspense. Would Ava and I survive this night without our secret being discovered? Would Jason react with curiosity, mockery, or something far worse? Only the next story would tell. The room was quiet, yet it hummed with electricity. Our foreheads pressed together, breaths mingling, hearts pounding like drums in a storm. I could feel Ava's warmth radiating through her body into mine. Every inch of me, dressed in the soft fabric of the dress, heels clicking lightly against the hardwood floor, makeup smudged slightly from tears and adrenaline, felt hyper-aware of her presence. I wanted to pull away, to run, to hide in the safety of my old life. But her hands held me too tightly, too intentionally. Her thumb brushed gently over my trembling fingers, grounding me. I can't believe this is real, I whispered, voice shaking. Her lips quirked into a small, uncertain smile. Neither can I, she admitted softly. But it is. Right now it's just us. No judgment. No expectations. Just you. Her words washed over me like warmth in a freezing storm. But the fear didn't leave, it only mixed with desire and vulnerability. I closed my eyes and tried to focus on the present. The soft swish of the dress as I moved. The faint scent of her perfume blending with the faint floral smell of my own lotion. The subtle tug of the heels, reminding me of how exposed I was. The tremor in my hands as I clutched hers. Every sensation reminded me. I was fully, completely, undeniably visible to her. Not just my appearance, but my hidden self. My secret. My crossdressing life. All laid bare. It should have terrified me more. But it didn't. Somehow, in this moment it felt safe. I could sense her struggle. Her fingers lingered on my waist, lingering longer than casual touch demanded. Her eyes darted from my face to my reflection in the mirror. She wanted to understand me, but the sight of me, dressed as I always dreamed of being, stirred something complicated in her. She whispered almost to herself, I don't know what to think, but I want to understand it. I wanted to tell her everything, to spill my heart in words that might scare her away. But instead, I let her see me in silence. Her gaze lingered on the painted nails, the soft blush on my cheeks, the wig perfectly framing my face. It wasn't judgment, it was fascination, awe, and something raw she couldn't name. Yet fear lingered. What if someone came in? What if my friends, my family, my coworkers found out? What if Ava suddenly recoiled, shocked by the reality she hadn't imagined? My heart raced faster with every thought. My heels felt suddenly unstable under me. Ethan, she whispered, drawing me out of my spiraling thoughts. Are you scared? I nodded. Terrified. Good, she said almost playfully. If you weren't, you wouldn't be fully alive right now. The thrill in her tone made my pulse spike. Fear and desire intertwined into something I'd never felt before. A delicious, terrifying tension that bound us together. We didn't speak for a moment. Just breathed. Every second stretched longer than it should have. My mind raced, imagining what would happen if someone walked in, if my secret life was exposed. But at the same time, there was an undeniable comfort in her presence. She reached up, her fingers tracing a stray curl of my wig. You did this all on your own? She asked softly. I nodded. Mostly. Sometimes I just experiment. When I'm alone. It makes me feel free. Her lips curved into a small smile. Free, huh? Yes, I whispered. I feel like I can be myself. Without pretending. Her eyes softened, and she leaned closer again. Her fingers brushed my cheek, smudging a little of the makeup. You're brave, she said. More than I ever realized. I could feel her breath on my lips again. Close. Warm. Tantalizing. My body reacted instinctively, every nerve ending alight with tension. I don't know if I'm ready for everyone to see this, I admitted. You don't have to, she whispered. Not yet. Not anyone but me. Her words were both comforting and intoxicating. I felt the thrill of being exposed, yet hidden, all at once. She pressed her forehead to mine again. I want to be part of this, she said softly. I want to help you explore it. With me. I gasped, my heart thudding. You want that? Yes, she said, firm and trembling at the same time. I want all of it. Even the parts you thought you had to hide. I sank slightly against her, letting myself breathe again. The tension didn't disappear. It shifted. It became charged, alive, and electric. I realized something terrifying and wonderful at the same time. I didn't need to hide anymore. Not from her. Not from myself. The dress, the heels, the makeup, they weren't just clothing anymore. They were symbols of who I was and who I could be, finally shared with someone who mattered. And yet, The danger outside lingered in my mind. Someone could walk in at any moment. My secret was still fragile. But for the first time, I didn't care entirely. Because she had seen me. She had chosen to stay. And that, in itself, was a risk worth everything. The air was thick with unspoken words. I hugged myself tightly, feeling the soft fabric of the dress against my skin, the heels pressing uncomfortably under my feet. Ava watched me intently, her eyes searching for answers she didn't yet know how to ask. I guess I should tell you everything. I began, voice trembling. Not just tonight. Not just this. But everything I've been hiding. Her lips parted slightly, a soft gasp escaping her as she whispered, "Everything?" I nodded. I've been dressing like this for a long time. Ever since I realized. I don't know that this part of me exists. I used to hide it in my room, alone, late at night. Trying on clothes, playing with makeup, pretending I was someone else. Someone freer. Ava's eyes softened, but they carried a hint of surprise. You've been doing this by yourself? I swallowed hard. Yes. I was scared. Scared of what people would think. Scared of being judged, or rejected. And I didn't know if I could tell you. I didn't want to lose you. She reached for my hands, holding them gently. And yet here you are telling me. Yes, I whispered. Because I don't want to hide from you. Not anymore. But it's complicated. Sometimes I dress like this to escape, to feel something I can't feel in my regular life. It's thrilling, but terrifying. And tonight, I realized I want you to be part of it. But I didn't know how to explain that without scaring you away. I closed my eyes and recalled the nights I spent alone. Standing in front of a full-length mirror, adjusting a wig I had purchased secretly online, marveling at how different and yet perfect I felt. Practicing eyeliner strokes that never seemed even, yet somehow, the transformation gave me confidence I never had before. Wearing heels and twirling around the room, feeling the soft fabric of skirts and dresses hugging my body differently than my own clothes ever could. Taking selfies, then deleting them, afraid that anyone would ever see. Each memory was a blend of fear and exhilaration. I had lived in secret, quietly exploring this side of myself, yet always feeling the weight of shame. I never told anyone, I confessed softly. Not my friends. Not my family. Not even you. Until now. I've kept this hidden because I didn't know if anyone would understand me. But I want you to understand. Her eyes softened, glistening slightly with unshed tears. She squeezed my hands. I'm not judging you, she said firmly. I'm surprised, yes. But not in a bad way. I'm curious. I want to understand it. I want to understand you. I shook my head, overwhelmed by her acceptance. You really want to? Yes, she whispered. I love you. Every part of you. And if this is part of who you are, I want to see it. I want to be there for it. For you. Her words sent shivers down my spine. I had always feared judgment, rejection, the loss of her love. But now, faced with her honesty, I felt a sense of relief I hadn't known in years. Yet, even as her words comforted me, the fear didn't disappear completely. What if someone saw me outside this room? What if my co-workers or friends discovered my secret? What if Ava's curiosity turned into discomfort, or worse, disgust? I glanced at her, hoping she could sense the storm of emotions inside me. I'm scared, I admitted, my voice barely a whisper. I know, she said softly. But being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It just means this matters. And I promise, I'll help you face it. Her reassurance gave me courage. It didn't erase the fear, but it made it manageable, like a thread I could hold on to while stepping into the unknown. I took a deep breath. There's something else, I whispered. When I'm dressed like this, I feel powerful. I feel alive. It's like I can finally be myself in a way I never could before. But I've always done it alone. I wanted to share it with someone. Someone who wouldn't laugh or judge me. Her eyes widened slightly, reflecting a mixture of surprise and awe. And now, you're sharing it with me. Yes, I said, my voice shaking with emotion. And I don't want to go back. Not fully. I don't know if I can. Ava leaned closer, resting her forehead against mine. Then you don't have to. Not with me. We'll figure this out. Together. Even as her words comforted me, my mind couldn't ignore the lingering tension outside the apartment. Footsteps in the hallway? Oh, a neighbor peeking through the door? Oh, a friend calling unexpectedly? The thrill of secrecy and vulnerability intertwined with the joy of sharing this side of myself with Ava. The room felt like a sanctuary, yet the world outside threatened to invade it at any moment. I realized this was just the beginning. My secret life had been hidden for so long, but now with Ava, it was on the edge of exposure. Every thrill came with risk. Every touch carried danger. And yet, I wouldn't have traded this moment for anything in the world. The quiet of the apartment was suddenly fragile. Every creak of the floor, every faint hum of the refrigerator, felt amplified. My heels clicked softly on the floor as I paced, heart hammering against my ribs like a warning drum. Ava followed my movements, her eyes sharp, alert. Then I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps outside the door. My stomach sank. "Who?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. Ava's hand squeezed mine. "Stay calm. Don't make a sound," she warned. The footsteps grew closer, deliberate. Not casual. Not the light shuffle of a neighbor. Someone was searching, or at least checking. My pulse raced. The heels, the dress, the wig. Everything that defined my secret self felt suddenly fragile, exposed. I crouched slightly, pressing against the wall, my heels awkwardly wobbling. Ava's hand found mine again. "Ethan, do you have anywhere to hide?" she whispered. I nodded slowly. "The bedroom closet," I said, voice tight. We tiptoed to the closet, avoiding the parts of the floorboards that creaked like warning bells. Every step felt like a countdown. Every shadow in the hallway outside seemed alive, threatening to expose me. The doorknob rattled suddenly. My heart froze. "Shoo!" Ava hissed. We slipped into the closet, the soft fabric of the dresses brushing against our legs. The heels clicked once, then twice, and then silence. The apartment door started to open slowly. Jason. I recognized his silhouette immediately. He wasn't supposed to be here. Not today. Not ever. The air in the closet felt suffocating. I pressed myself against the back wall, trying to disappear behind jackets and hanging clothes. Ava crouched beside me, her hand brushing mine for reassurance. "Ethan," she whispered, voice shaking slightly. He could see everything. I nodded, swallowing hard. "I know. We have to stay completely still." Jason's voice called out, casual but probing. "Ethan? You in there? I know you're home. Come on." Every word made my stomach twist. I could almost feel him scanning the apartment, looking for me. The thrill of crossdressing, the empowerment I felt in front of the mirror, was replaced by panic. Exposure was seconds away. We held our breath as he walked closer, the floor creaking just slightly under his weight. My hands shook. The wig felt heavier than ever. My dress clung awkwardly as I tried to make myself as small as possible. Ava's thumb stroked my hand, grounding me. "Stay calm. He can't see us," she whispered. I nodded, but my chest heaved. Every nerve was on fire. The apartment door opened fully now. Footsteps echoed toward the bedroom. Every second stretched endlessly. And then, a noise. A chair scraping against the floor in the living room. Jason wasn't in the bedroom. He was near the entrance. We let out a collective silent sigh, relief washing over us briefly. But it didn't last. My heart was still racing, but I realized something. The fear, the thrill, the vulnerability. It all heightened the bond between Ava and me. "I've never felt like this before," I whispered, voice trembling. "Like what?" she asked softly, keeping her gaze on me. "Exposed, alive, scared, and excited all at once." Her lips curved into a knowing smile. "Good," she said, almost teasing. "Because this is just the beginning." Even as my mind screamed at me to flee, to run back into safety, I couldn't ignore the truth. Having Ava here supporting me, holding my hand through this, made the danger thrilling instead of unbearable. We stayed pressed together in the closet, listening, waiting, hearts synchronized in panic and exhilaration. Eventually, Jason's footsteps receded. The faint clatter of his keys and the shuffle of his boots signaled he was leaving the apartment. We exhaled slowly, almost in unison, but the tension didn't fully dissipate. The threat had passed, but the adrenaline remained, buzzing through every nerve ending. Ava hugged me tightly. "See? You survived." "We survived," she whispered. "Yes," I murmured. "But this isn't over." "Not really." Her eyes glinted with both excitement and warning. "No. It's only going to get more intense from here." And she was right. Even as we laughed softly, trying to calm our racing hearts, the danger outside, the fear of exposure, and the thrill of transformation remained a constant pulse beneath the surface. The secret was safe, for now. But I knew one thing. This night, this moment, had changed everything. The apartment fell into uneasy silence after Jason's footsteps faded away. Even though the immediate threat was gone, the tension lingered like a heavy fog. My heels clicked softly against the hardwood floor as I moved to sit on the edge of the bed, clutching the hem of my dress, trying to calm my racing thoughts. Ava sat beside me, her hand resting lightly on mine. She didn't speak, but her presence was grounding, a tether in the chaos of my mind. "I don't know if I can do this," I whispered, voice trembling. "What if someone finds out? What if they judge me? What if I lose you because of this?" She looked at me, eyes filled with intensity and care. "You're scared," she said softly. "And that's normal. You're revealing a part of yourself that the world might not understand. But hiding it, that won't make the fear go away. You'll always feel trapped if you don't let people see who you truly are." I shook my head, biting my lip. But what if the world doesn't accept me? What if my friends, my coworkers, my family, they see me like this and think I'm different or worse? Ava leaned closer, brushing a strand of hair from my face. "Then that's their problem. What matters is who you are, and who you choose to be. I choose to be here with you. And I'll face it with you no matter what." Even with her reassurance, my mind couldn't stop racing. Part of me wanted to retreat, to shed the dress, the makeup, the heels, and disappear into the safety of the familiar. Part of me longed to embrace this side of myself fully, to feel alive in the way I never had before. And part of me feared that embracing it would come at a cost I wasn't ready to pay. The conflict tore at me. The dress felt heavier on my shoulders, a constant reminder of both freedom and vulnerability. My painted nails itched like an unspoken accusation. My wig, perfectly styled moments ago, now seemed like a mask I might never be able to remove. "I don't know if I can face the world like this," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. "I feel so exposed." She pressed her lips gently to my forehead. "You're never truly exposed with me. And even if you are, we'll handle it together. But hiding is what hurts you the most." Her words stirred something deep inside me. The fear and thrill intertwined, creating a storm of emotions I hadn't anticipated. My body responded instinctively. My pulse quickened, my chest tightened, yet a wave of warmth spread through me at her touch. "I've never shared this with anyone," I said, voice trembling. "Not even you. Until tonight." She smiled softly. "Then you're trusting me now. That's brave. More brave than you realize." Her hand slid down mine, resting on my lap, and a shiver ran through me. The thrill of crossdressing, the empowerment I felt in front of the mirror, was magnified tenfold when shared with someone who accepted me completely. But the fear didn't vanish entirely. Every knock, every shadow outside the apartment, still whispered of potential discovery. I looked into her eyes, searching for answers I couldn't find on my own. Is it selfish? Wanting to be like this, wanting to explore this side of me? Shouldn't I just be normal? Her hand cupped my cheek, tilting my face toward hers. Normal isn't a rule, Ethan. Normal is what people expect. What matters is authenticity. If being yourself makes you happy, fulfilled, then it's not selfish. It's survival. It's life. And I'll be here for every step of it. Her words were a balm, but they also posed a challenge. Could I truly live authentically, knowing the world might not understand? Could I embrace both my secret and my love for Ava without letting fear control me? We sat together in silence for a long moment, hearts beating in sync, minds tangled in conflicting emotions. I realized that this night marked a turning point. I could retreat, hide again, and live safely but unfulfilled. Or I could step forward, embrace my identity, and risk exposure, judgment, or worse. Ava's hand tightened around mine, anchoring me. "Whatever you decide," she said softly. I'll face it with you. But hiding is no longer an option. Her words echoed in my mind as I took a deep breath. For the first time, I felt the weight of choice, the power of self-determination. Fear still lingered, but it was no longer paralyzing. It had become a companion, reminding me that what mattered most, love, trust, authenticity, was worth the risk. Even as we embraced, the outside world remained a threat. A Jason could return at any moment. A neighbors could overhear. My co-workers or family might discover the truth at the worst possible time. The thrill of exposure, the danger of secrecy, and the intimacy of shared vulnerability hung over us like a storm cloud. Beautiful, terrifying, and electrifying. And deep down, I knew. The real challenges had only just begun. The apartment was quiet again, but the tension from earlier still hummed in the air. I stood in front of the full-length mirror, adjusting the wig for the 100th time, brushing stray strands into place. The soft fabric of my dress clung to me in ways my old clothes never had, and the heels made every movement feel deliberate, heightened, almost theatrical. Ava stepped behind me, her hands brushing lightly over my shoulders as she whispered, "You look perfect." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. Not just from the compliment, but from the closeness, the intimacy, the awareness that she was seeing the real me, every part I'd hidden for so long. I ran my hands over the soft fabric of the dress, feeling the contours of my body differently than before. The silky material slipped beneath my fingertips, the sound of it swishing against my legs amplified in the quiet room. My heels made small, deliberate clicks against the hardwood floor as I took tentative steps forward. Ava circled me slowly, adjusting the straps of the dress, brushing my cheek with her thumb to smooth out a trace of smudged makeup. "This is who you are," she said softly. "And it's beautiful." I shivered at the touch, feeling exposed yet exhilarated. The wig framed my face perfectly now, curling just so, and the faint scent of makeup and perfume mingled between us. Every detail, every sensation, made me feel alive in a way I never had before. Her presence made the thrill of crossdressing even more intense. It was no longer just a private act. It was shared. Vulnerable yet electrifying. I could feel my heart racing, my palms slightly trembling, the soft warmth of her hand anchoring me. "You trust me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Completely." "Yes," I breathed. "I trust you. With everything." She smiled, leaning closer, letting her fingers trace the curve of my cheek. Her touch was both grounding and electric, sending waves of emotion through me. Excitement, fear, longing, and love all tangled together. I adjusted the mirror slightly, seeing my reflection fully for the first time. There I was, the two selves I'd carried, merged into one reflection. My everyday identity and my hidden beautiful persona. The heels made me taller, the dress softened my silhouette, the makeup transformed my expression. And yet, the reflection also reminded me of the fragility of the secret. One wrong knock, one unexpected visitor, and the illusion could shatter instantly. Ava noticed my hesitation and whispered, "It's okay. You're safe with me." I let out a shaky breath, and in that moment, the symbolic weight of the wig, the dress, the makeup, all of it, shifted from vulnerability to empowerment. We stood together in front of the mirror, her hands still intertwined with mine. I could feel her pulse against my own, the rhythm matching mine. Every glance, every soft touch, every whispered word deepened the bond between us. "This is who I am," I said quietly, voice trembling. "And I want to explore it, with you." She nodded, brushing a curl from my face. "Then we explore it together. Every step. Every moment." The thrill of crossdressing, once a private escape, was now a shared adventure. The fear of being caught mingled with exhilaration, creating a tension that was both terrifying and beautiful. Even as we embraced, the world outside continued to threaten. Footsteps in the hallway, a neighbor peeking from across the landing, or an unexpected call could ruin everything. Yet in the sanctuary of the apartment, surrounded by mirrors reflecting both ourselves, I felt a strange combination of fear and empowerment. The secret was no longer just mine. It was ours, shared, intimate, and thrilling. And deep down, I knew that this was only the beginning. The next step, the next challenge, the next moment of suspense would test us further. For now, though, I allowed myself to breathe, to exist fully as both Ethan and the girl I had become, alive, transformed, and sharing it with someone who mattered more than anything.